We begin with this that we have learnt now that both geometry, that is x coordinate, where when we started finite element, we used to discretize only displacement d. Now we are also seeing that we can discretize, or if you know the nodal coordinates of your discrete system x1, x2, etc. Now here we are talking only of 2 degrees of freedom, so I am just giving you 2, otherwise it is n degree of freedom. So if you know the nodal coordinates, then you can also pass, because this is the equation of the curve. This is the equation of the surface. If it is in 2 dimensions, it will be surface. In 3 dimensions, it will be something, more than surface, 3 dimension. What is that more than surface? Of course, what it will, yes, it will be volume. So, but then it will be the volume which will be passing through all the 3-dimensional points. So, that is interpolation. So, now we have got this. So, and then it is defined by the same shape function, same. If for both displacement as well as geometry, we use the same n, then we call it isoparametric. So, isoparametric is one. Now, you will get some terms in your book, that super isoparametric, super. So, please run, what is super isoparametric? Super isoparametric is that if sometimes the geometry is more complicated than the displacement that you are trying to visualize. Geometry of the problem, geometry of the structure, geometry of the system is more complicated. So, in order to represent that geometry, you will be using higher degree polynomial in n. N will be a larger degree polynomial. So, if the order of polynomial degree in n is higher, that means if n super x is not equal to n, but let us say some n dash times x, and u is n times d, in this n dash contains polynomials, because after all it is also interpolating between various points, a function is being interpolated. So, if these are higher degree, so if n dash contains higher degree, that is degree of polynomial, then we call it super geometry is higher degree polynomial than the displacement. There is also sub isoparametric. So, you should know sub isoparametric, sub. So, as the name indicates, now which one is super, why it is sub isoparametric, now this one is when n dash polynomial is less than n. Polynomial degree of n dash, that means shape function that contains geometry, is less than that of displacement. So, then it is sub isoparametric. But again, more than 95%, I mean, I will not say, I will keep 5% for this. This is the major, this is used for most of the work. Normally in very few applications we use super isoparametric or sub isoparametric. One is, it is easier to have the same shape function, all your formulations become easy, okay, because if you have different, you will have to keep track of your shape functions, which one is what, one has to go in a displacement field, another has to go in the geometry, definition of geometry. So, that creates problem, okay, it is not that simple. So, isoparametric is the most popular and most easy to implement, and nowadays all the programs use isoparametric formulation so that has become a way of life. Now, after this, extend this we have to extend now. This is because we can explain these things in a much better way when it is one dimension, but then in two dimension and three dimension, the same concept can be extended. Okay. So, before I take up shape functions in two dimension, I will first define a problem in two dimension. After all, some problem should be there in two dimension, then only you can do discretization and application in two dimension. So, what are the problems that we encounter in two dimension as a structural engineer? Because this class is mostly structural engineering. So, in two dimensions, so what are the problems that we encounter? I think basic elasticity problem is three dimensional problem, 3D. There are three independent coordinates x, y, z. But then there are some from that, there are situations when the loads are special or when the geometry of the problem is special, then that three dimensional problem exactly reduces to two dimensional. The problem itself is exactly defined. Okay. So, there are two dimensional elasticity problem. What are the two dimensional? So, one of the problems that we encounter in real life is when every body, no matter how special or how particular that body is a three dimensional body. But out of three dimension, if one of the dimensions is small, for example, this sheet of paper, the thickness of this paper is very small compared to its length and breadth or length and height, the other two dimensions. There are A and B and H. H is the thickness. Thickness is very, very small compared to. For this problem, yes, so this is also a elastic body. This is all particles are continuously distributed. And if the loads are all applied in the plane of this, if this is lying in xy plane, let us say, this A and B, this is xy and z is perpendicular to this plane. All the loads that we apply, they are all lying in xy plane. There is no load which is perpendicular, which has a component perpendicular to xy plane. In that case, you can also apply moments. Moments should have vector that is in z direction. Vector, moment vector should be in z direction. That means the couple should exist in xy plane. Couple means equal and opposite forces, because they will form the moment. So, moment will be like this. So, couple can be in z direction, but nothing else. So, for such situation, that means there are two conditions. One is thin, it is very thin, H is very, very small compared to A and B thickness, and second is if the load confined in xy plane of the, where z direction is the thickness direction, the h is the thickness, so z direction is thickness, so confined, loads are confined. In that case, the state of stress that exists in this body, that does not change with the thickness, because loads are, thickness is so small, so variation of any quantity with respect to z is not there. And all the stresses that exist in this, they are all planar. And at any point P in the body, so if this is, I draw like this now, any point P, if I take a small element around point P, what is the state of stress that exists? This is x, this is y. Z is perpendicular coming out. So, state of stress that exists at any point P, you have to draw a small rectangle or a square around it, and then you can show the state of stress will be all be planar, and there will be sigma x, sigma y, tau xy, so this is all. That means, under this, if these two conditions exist, then from a three-dimensional point of view, because you have 6 components of stresses and 6 components of strain, so in a normal 3 dimension, you have at any point sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, tau xy, tau xz, tau yz. But if the above is exists and the corresponding strains are F normal strain x, normal strain y, normal strain z, shear strain in xy, shear strain in xz, and shear strain in yz planes. This is the normal 3-dimensional at any body, any point in a 3-dimensional body, elastic body, this one. But in this case, if this thing holds good, then the following become, one is this, because all the loads are confined to only xy. So, this there is no stress, this tends to 0, sigma z does not exist. There is no shear stress in xz plane, this also does not, this also does not. All these 3 stress components become 0, stress component in this situation. And so, we are talking only of what becomes 0, only 3 stress components 0, and we are left only with sigma x, sigma y and tau xy out of 6 components. Now, how many strain components will exist, that is a different matter that we will see here. Yes, of course, this one, because this shear stress, because shear stress xz plane, you have to have some load in that direction component, then only shear stress. Since there is no load perpendicular to the xy, so that does not exist, and therefore, shear this angle xz angle and yz angle of this is z, this is z. So, this xz angle and yz angle in at all points of deformation, because after this point, this rectangle becomes, after deformation, this body may take a new shape like this, and this element may look something like this. Yes, it is possible. This rectangle or square will become something like this. 4 sides will I have made 5 sides, no, 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. So, this rectangle will look something like this. So, within the plane there is shear angle, right angle has changed, gamma xy will be present, epsilon x will be present, epsilon y will be present. This one will not be present, this will be 0. This also will be 0, because this angle will always be 90. Between z at any point you take, that angle will always be 90, so this will be 0. But this strain epsilon z will be there, will not be 0. So, do not blindly say because sigma z is 0, so epsilon z also is 0, no. The plate, this sheet, even if you stretch it, however thin this may be, infinitesimally small this may be, the thickness will change. The plate thickness, because if you stretch it, it will become thinner. If you compress it, it will become thicker. How much, that is a different matter, but there is always normal strain will exist. Okay, it is not that it does not exist. So, do not just go by this equality, because this is 0, so this will be 0 blindly. This is 0, so this is no. We are trying to explain weather angle. So, this will be present. Okay. Such a state of stress Such a situation is called in elasticity plane stress state, plane stress. So, this is called plane, PLANE, plane stress. This is taught in the first year course on mechanics of solids. When we draw all this Mohr circle, that is a two-dimensional state of stress. Plane stress, state of stress, plane stress, two-dimensional state of stress. So, this is one state. So, many situations are there where the body is like this, and you get this in reality you get most of the walls of a building, they are in a state of plane stress. Okay. Most of the membrane, in the membrane, supposing you have a balloon, you put air in it, that the balloon, that is in a state of plane. At any point you will find they will all be planar, tangential plane, all the stresses only will be, because you are expanding by air. So, that will be in a state of plane stress, things like this. So, this is one state of two dimension. There is another situation, two-dimensional, which you must have learnt in some other courses, and especially those of you who are doing soil mechanics. In the case of dams, which are prismatic sections, prismatic means constant cross section. The cross section of the dam is that is upstream, this is downstream or something. So, this is water is up to here. So, this is the dam cross section. But then this dam this is a cross section, it is very long. So, if you see it is a mile long, half a mile long. So, this is long. And then what happens? Because where do you construct dams? Because to hold water, so there must be two hills. So, you will always create a dam somewhere, when the terrain is something like this, river is flowing here, and then you will try to block it by constructing a dam here. So, dam is constructed here. You block the water. So, you construct a dam here on one side, and then release it depending upon your requirement, produce hydroelectric power and things like that by putting this. So, dam is always, this terrain is important. It is not. So, dam, these two ends of this very long dam, they are fixed in very strong rocks. This is fixed grouted to the two sides. Because water will be there up to here on that side. So, the two ends are fixed. This is the length of the dam. Every cross section is XX is something like this. So, here what happens? Most of the cross section, although the depths are increasing, see, depth everywhere is not constant. Depth in the center will be more of the dam, here it will be less as you go along the depth. Foundation, as you go deep into the foundation, that may be varying, but this cross section, you see, because at the two ends it is fixed. So, there is no particle in this dam that will be able to move left or right along the length, because these ends are fixed. So, however, whatever forces are coming, movement of particles, that means the cross section will remain a plane only. Not only it will remain a plane, it will not move either this side or this side. So, wherever any cross section is there, it will remain plane and no movement in length direction, in the length direction. That is because you have constrained it, you have fixed at the two ends. So, because there is no movement, one thing is very clear, that then if this direction is z, x, y, z, x, y, x, y. So, if I draw my x and y, cross section is x and y. So, cross section, in the cross section I have my, let us say, x and y, something like this. Then I have drawn z this way, positive, so that x, y, z is right-handed screw. Not that x cannot be vertical, x and y, so you can get z, otherwise I will have to take z this way. So, one thing is clear, that epsilon z will be 0. No strain in z direction, because there is, all particles are confined, will get confined, and so everywhere you take any cross section, it will just stay there. It will remain plane. Not only the angle xz and yz will always remain 90 degree. So, since that will remain 90 degrees, xz also will be 0 and gamma yz also will be. Okay. So, epsilon z, gamma xz, gamma yz. Why gamma xz and yz will become 0? Because the angle xz and yz under any state of stress will always remain 90, and change in right angle is called shear strain. So, therefore, shear strain is 0, since that will remain always 90. But within the plane, if you consider any element within the plane, a rectangular element, no, that will undergo change. This element will may look something like this. That is all right after within the element. I mean, sorry, within the cross section. So, x y we are not saying anything. We are not talking of x y shear strain in x y plane. We are talking only about z x and z y. So, these three must be 0, and therefore, out of the 6 components of strain that exists, which I told you here, let me draw. So, here I will write here, out of 6 components, so out of out of 6 components of the strains that exist at any point in a 3-dimensional body, this is also a 3-dimensional body. Only thing, this is a special 3-dimensional body, because x y is constant cross section and that is very long in z direction, and z direction is confined between 2 hillocks. So, it is not able to move, and therefore, this condition exists. So, out of this we have just now found that this is equal to 0, this one is equal to 0, and then this one is equal to 0. So, you will be left only with three strains, and all the leftover strains are in xy plane only. They are not any strains are not out of plane. There is nothing. So, of course, what will be? No, this one is not z, this is the vector. So, this, what about this? Sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, tau x y, tau x z, and tau y z. Again, this is 0, that does not mean just blindly strike out the corresponding stresses. That is what most of you do, but that is foolish. You have to see what stress will be there, what stress will not be there. Of course, because these shear strains are there, and shear strains are related to shear stress only through a relationship which involves G, shear modulus. So, therefore, this one will be no problem, this one will be 0, this one will be. then, and this one also will be 0 for another reason, because in a dam all the loads that are there, they are independent of Z. These loads, that it is not only long, loads, water load, water pressure, see triangular water pressure with the height of the dam wall, you have this from wherever your water level is there. Now this is more or less same, so this is independent of Z. It does not change with Z. Along the length it more or less remains the same. Plus there is no component of load that is in Z direction. They are all confined only again in xy plane. So if this condition, so both, one is geometry, another one is, so always there are two phases, two facts. One is the dam should be like this, it is plus loads are acting like this. In that case, this one will be 0. This will be present because this is there, this will be present, this also will be present, this also will be present, this will be present. What about this? Epsilon z. Epsilon z is 0. Sigma z. Will sigma z be present? Yes. Because it is confined in z direction, so the dam will try to expand or contract with temperature change or whatever it is, try to, but then because of fixity it will not be able to expand, and therefore stress will be created in z direction. So this one will be present. Now such a state of, now why it is, this is also from the problem reduces to 2 dimensions, simple, exactly. So we call this as a plane strain. Such a state of stress or strain is called plane. So this also exists in many cases, and they are real life situations. A similar thing, so plane strain, and this is 2D, because you have to deal only with 2-dimensional relations. Similarly, plane stress, which I told you some time back, this is also 2D, not 3D. 3D gets reduced to 2D. 3D problem gets reduced to 2D. Another situation that exists, which I told you, my friends in geotechnical, they do lot of axisymmetric structures. Foundation, I do not know, very few foundations except well foundation, well, you know, well, our for piers, you have circular foundation, and that is, you know, that is you drive it into the soil through hammering. You will have some knife edge edges. So that is circular, of some thickness, annular circular. So that is well foundation. But otherwise, most of the other foundations for buildings, and they are all not non-circular. But still, I think more than 90% of the work in geotechnical, I find they are only talking of circular foundation. I do not know why. Why should they deal, you know, so much in only circular foundation? Axisymmetric, which is about theta angle, there is no change in the geometry. At any theta, it is the same. So circular, so if you have a problem which is axisymmetric, that means about this, that means what is axisymmetric problem? If you have an axis and if you have any plane, if you rotate that plane about this axis, you will get a solid of revolution, because every particle in this plane will make a complete circle. So this will make, every particle will make a complete circle. So you get a solid of revolution. So, this is called solid of revolution. So, this plane is being rotated about this axis, and then you get a structure which is a solid, and that structure is axisymmetric because geometry is axisymmetric because for any angle theta it is the same, there is no change. And if the load that you apply on this structure, like in a cylindrical shell, what you must have seen number of vertical cylindrical tanks in Bharat Petroleum and Indian Oil fertilizer, they are mostly vertical. So, they are not only structure is not only symmetrical, but even the load, because it is filled with oil. So, oil will produce only pressure on the wall, that is also symmetrical about the theta. So, such a system, then it becomes the state of stress in that problem becomes axisymmetric. It does not change with theta. So, if this angle is z and this is r theta, yes, and this rotation angle is theta, then r theta z is your coordinate axis, which is called cylindrical coordinate axis, cylindrical. You can express any location of any point in r theta z, and then this problem becomes, so if the structure is axisymmetric, and loads also are axisymmetric, loads are same. In that case, that means two conditions should exist, structure as well as loads are axisymmetric, then only problem becomes an axisymmetric. And what is the meaning of an axisymmetric problem? Yes, no variation with theta, all quantities become independent of theta. So, that means all quantities, all dependent variables, quantity means dependent variables become independent of, dependent variables become independent of theta. Nothing changes with, that means this del upon del theta, any quantity is independent, means this is always 0. Rate of change of any quantity with respect to theta, no change. So, that means you simply analyze one cross section. So, you need to analyze only one cross section, is it not? You do not have to analyze the complete solid, there is no point. And this one is lying only in which coordinate? This will be lying not in only r and z, because this will be one will be r and other one will be z. So, this theta is perpendicular to this, theta is moving, rotating, circle. So, r and z. So, it problem becomes you have to solve only with respect to only. So, again out of 6 quantities of stress and strain, you will be left with less number of quantities that you need to consider for such problem. Are you clear now? So, these are the three types of problem, that means plane stress. By the way, this problem I have not yet completed this problem. This axisymmetric problem is called, because plane that plane which is rotated, that will always remain plane. It will not get, any particle will not move out of the plane. So, it will remain plane only. All deformation will take place within the plane only. So, will this problem be called plane stress or plane strain? Plane strain. No particles move out of the plane. They just remain within the plane. RZ. Plane is defined by coordinates R and Z. So, it is also a plane strain situation, axisymmetric problem. Only thing is, whatever I told there in the previous case, in the case of dam, it is slightly different, because here this theta is confined, and because of that there exists both sigma theta as well as epsilon theta. In the previous case, I think we had said epsilon z equal to 0, because that is fixed. Here what happens, thus a circle, any particle you take, that any particle p moves by 2 pi, it becomes a circle. But after loads are applied, that circle becomes bigger. Loads are applied, it will remain circle all right, but circle will become bigger or smaller. Since it becomes bigger or smaller, means there will be strain in that direction. Epsilon theta will be there. Not only strain, change in length is there, change in 2 pi, radius has changed, because bigger means more radius. So, you can find out strain, and obviously that also be stressed. Any closed circle, if you are increasing, stress also. So, both sigma theta and epsilon theta will be present here. Rest of the things are same as the previous, and this we call generalized plane strain problem. Not just plane strain, but generalized plane strain problem. Soil mechanics people, tell me, is it right, or have I defined the problem correctly? Is it called generalized or something different? Generalized. If epsilon theta is 0, because plane remains plane. No, that is you have not understood. If this you are considering any plane, if this remains plane, same, all particles remain in the same plane. So, what is happening, that plane is moving in radius wise along the R, that is all, nothing is happening. If this is the center, I am rotating this plane about this. So, what is happening after the loads are applied, this plane is moving only along R, and of course, there will be deformation. This plane will not remain rectangle, it will become something different. Particles are moving, but every particle will remain only in this plane, and they are moving only along R. There is no particle which is going in theta direction. Okay, so I think you understand. Don't jump to conclusion. How can you call it plane strain? Plane strain means particles don't move out of the plane. But why it is called generalized? Generalized because in this case, this will be there, sigma theta will be present, as well as epsilon theta will be present. So, both these, strain also is present and this also is present. The rest of the things are as it is. So, one more extra component will be there. Okay. So, all these three problems are two-dimensional state of stress and strain, and they come out of three-dimensional problem because of special situations. So, they can be dealt with as two-dimensional problem. So, they are all 2D problems. Okay. All the three can be dealt with in the same manner. Only thing is there will be some difference somewhere, that I will tell you. So, we will discuss this further. And now please start reading, because with this background you should be able to read and understand things. So, two-dimensional shape functions, two-dimensional isoparametric formulation, two-dimensional problem, please start reading. Okay. Thank you very much.